This is the Lydia and Spin, episode number 226 with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and our very special guest today, Marc Hurtado, who I've been touring with, and Sébastien Greppo, also known as El Greppo the Grappler, who, without him helping me on these multiple tours, I would be out in the backyard crying. So, hi, Tim, how you doing?
I'm okay. This is one of the tightest road podcasts yet. I'm at a parking lot in Youngstown, Ohio, and it sounds like you guys just pulled into Brighton, UK, just minutes ago. But we're getting it done, and it's good to see you, even though I guess you guys can't see me.
Oh, we can see you.
Oh, we can see you.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah. How was your interference by the Ohio police last night? What was going on with that?
Right. So we were driving from Columbus to Youngstown, and I think it was a county sheriff thing. We started being trailed by, a black SUV cop, and then driving parallel with us, looking into us, for miles. Like, oh, we're gonna get pulled over, and sure enough, we get pulled over. He claims that our left front tire crossed the line at one point. It's all on video, and then we have New York plates, and it's a rental car, a van, and basically there's a lot of drug trafficking around there, and they really try to he tried to be like, oh, you sure you don't have like a joint in there? Basically, Ohio the night before voted to legalize marijuana.
Right.
So there's a 30-day window before that's in effect. So they're just trying to fucking get as much as they fucking possibly can in this window of it being illegal. And he did the whole thing, like, I'm gonna bring the dogs out and all that shit. And we're like, look, but he goes, well, you guys are a band. What's the name of your band? Of course, sometimes when I'm touring with child abuse, I lie about that, but we didn't. He said, okay, we're called Child Abuse, and we're playing this venue, blah, blah, blah. And so everything was the truth. And our driver at the time, he has no criminal record. So they did let us go. But it was about 20 minutes, half hour. It was a little nerve-wracking for sure. But we didn't have any drugs on us. So I don't know. I mean,
it's nerve-wracking because I wasn't with you.
Well, you are a master in those situations, but we somehow got through it. But yeah,
you weren't riding
sucks.
You weren't riding dirty.
No, we had nothing on us, and we had clean records, and
in spite of your criminal behaviors.
Well, sure, but he could have made our life hell, and we could have maybe missed the show if he made us take everything out and they bring everything. But he knew that would have been a waste of time because he's going to go after someone else that maybe might produce the results he's looking for.
What happened to us yesterday is we didn't understand why there was a bit of just the car in front of us, and then from behind us, a roadblock on the M1 where a big rig's tire had blown out. So they had to run after it and get the tire. That didn't cause too much of a delay, but we're like, oh, if we were 2 cars ahead. So there was, yesterday there was something in the atmosphere. But anyway, you're on tour with Child Abuse. I'm on tour now with Marc Hurtado. We did Manchester last night, which was fantastic. Nottingham last night. Before that, Manchester, which was great. London was fantastic. We have a few more shows left. We're in Brighton. And in Brighton, we'll be playing with us a band that I'd never heard of, but they opened for us in London, and I might take them over. They're called Tina Kit.
Okay.
And they're suited and booted boys who play a very aggressive, semi-melodic, 3-vocalist, brutal post-no wave rock and roll. I was very impressed.
Cool. I don't know. I can't remember if this was mentioned in the last podcast, but I told you, but in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Oh, no, please tell about that. Yeah. About a terror. All right. You're in St. Pete. What happened?
So St. Petersburg, Florida, it's a multi-band night, and we're headlining, and it's Florida. So between the bands, everyone's hanging outside, blah, blah, blah. About 5 minutes, we were there about 5 minutes before this went down. We had to go to get our equipment ready and get ready to go on. At which point, a car drove right into the crowd and hospitalized 2 fucking people. One lady's leg was completely shattered and fucked up. So, and friends of mine, well, we know Mark and Steve Bristol's there. They had to jump out of the way. I mean, it was pretty dramatic.
Our good friend Mark, who travels around Florida to visit us.
Yes. So, but what happened was, because we were behind the stage, but was partially outdoors, loading in, that the minivan that the driver is a woman, there was someone like hanging on to it, going, stop, because she tried to drive away. She tried to drive away.
Accident, or was it purposeful?
So I guess she was doing, sometimes they have these, like in Florida, they have these like vendors outside. She was like selling candles or some shit like that. She must have hit. She was in reverse and thought she was in drive and gunned it in reverse into the crowd. But then she panicked and did it again. And then she drove off. And I think in the panic, she jammed it in the drive, and her transmission's fucked. So you heard this. She couldn't really get away. I was like, grinding. People were riding the cars, like, stop. Very dramatic. Fire trucks, ambulances, police cars. So we didn't play that show. I mean, the show's canceled at that point. I mean, it's just, yeah. So that was, but it's in the tour book history of my experiences. That was a pretty dramatic situation. Miami was awesome. Rat hooked it up. That was a great show. But anyhow, it's
right at the beginning of my tour, which this began with Hertado and I in Berlin and Munich. That was great with our tribute to suicide. And then I went to Italy for 4 shows with Ian White and premiered Artist, Depression, Anxiety, and Rage to much fanfare, people crying. The cultural minister of Pesaro, Italy was like, oh my God, this is so important. People want to book it some more. So I was very happy about that after all the work Jasmine and I have done on that. And of course, playing with Ian White, his fantastic self. That was a lot of fun. And then back with Hertado, and this ends on the 14th. And then there's 2 of the last ever Retrovirus shows. And then leave me alone for a while. And that's the intro to episode 226. Now we're going to get to the meat of the matter. So I'm sitting here with Marc Hurtado, and he mentioned to me the other day that he first contacted me. I never remember the shit, when I lived in Pittsburgh. What was that about, Mark?
For making Re-Up, the album Re-Up, So in 1999, I made a record with Lydia, making only 1 track with also Mark Cunningham playing trumpets on it, and I made all the electronics. And there is also 4 tracks with Alan Vega, and 3 tracks with Genesis Peorich. And it was the first time that I spoke with Lydia, and she lives in Pittsburgh in this time, And Lydia was my obsession since maybe I have 16 years. No, I can say it, because I began with a big depression,
So who else? Who better than me to cheer you up?
Yeah, I find in you a kind of a jumelle, comment on dit, une jumelle.
A twin.
Yeah, a twin, because we live something quite similar, My father hit me a lot. At 12 years, my only idea was to die. I live only for dying, I was thinking to jump from my window since 12 years.
Wow.
And at 12 years, I have something incredible. I try to sleep 8 days without
waking up.
Yeah. And my eyes, I can't close the eyes, 8 days.
8 days without sleeping, or
without sleeping, with the eyes totally open. And when my father come, because I have problem with my father, and when he come in the room saying, hey, how are you? It was like he say, how are you? And I always say, stop to scream, please. And just after that, he bring me a camera, 8mm camera.
When your eyes were swollen open, he brings you a camera.
They give me a lot of pills, blah, blah, blah. It begins like this.
Pills at 12, because he was depressed, couldn't sleep, and was already fucked up. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, and the thing very incredible is the first thing that I make with this camera, I go in the toilet with a projector, and I project in my belly, many films that my father make from my youth in Morocco, you know, and I feel myself like this, all my belly films, and I say these things are very like a psychoanalysis, you know.
Psychoanalysis of the belly.
But I
Because
need
all the pain is in the stomach.
Yet it was yet in stomach, and it stay in the stomach. But I feel that something I missed something. It was sound, you know. So all my family are musician. My father was a singer of opera. My grandfather was a musician. But I need to make music for destroying music. I don't want to learn nothing. I only want to destroy everything. So I keep the things from the kitchen from my mother for making
the utensils.
Yeah, and bring that and destroy many things for making sound. And little by little, small step by step, I began to, I proposed to my brother to make music, and we make étant donné and all these things. You know?
Étant donné, named after my favorite piece of art in the world by Marcel Duchamp.
Yeah, Duchamp is for us is also the king. You know?
So how old were you when you started making music with your brother?
For 13 years, and alone, and with my brother 14 years.
And when did you start beating the shit out of each other on stage?
I began to be on stage totally nude, fighting first with the public, because we are nude, but first we have big baton, you say this,
Yeah.
and we hit the public, you know, and the security was not for us, but for the public, because we hit them, and they put us back a lot of, you know,
Punch you back a
in
lot.
our face. We finish all the show with the blood, but this was
At 14, 15.
Yeah, 15 years. I go to the school in the morning, and I have all these bruises, you know, in my face. But it was very crazy. And after that, we return our energy, force, and violence between my brother and me, you know. And this kind of theater was very inspired by Anton Artaud and the theater of Cloty, because
absolutely very influential.
we were really crazy of this, and Marc Hurtado and Anton Artaud was our point of you know, of escaping from the reality, if you want.
So already when you have this inspiration and influence at 14, the same as de Sade and Artaud and all the American writers, then I mean, this is really a great saving grace for us, because we're like, our people, even though they're dead hundreds of years or decades.
Exactly.
And then you come to me.
Yeah.
And then you find me.
Yeah, but the first time I bought Teenage Jesus record, it was maybe, don't remember, it was No New York or the pink one.
Yeah.
But for me, this baby screams, you know, it was exactly the echo of my baby screams, you know, when I was hurting my face in the windows, that I only want to die at 12 years. Why?
Say the difference between you and me is I wanted to kill at 12 years old.
Yeah.
You wanted to die.
Yeah,
That's why people come to me who are depressed, because I'm homicidal and they're suicidal.
Maybe next step.
It's good you didn't leave too early. You would have killed him.
Yeah, he could have been my first but not last victim.
But
So it was this music that made you overcome this urge to kill yourself?
Yeah, but exactly, it saved my life. First was the films, because the films, when I opened the window of my eyes, you know, because I have kind of walls, black wall behind my eyes, I opened my mind with the films. With this film of my youth in the Morocco, I began to understand that I can make something
from the pain.
Exactly, with this pain.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of things that was around death in my family. The father of my grandfather killed someone. He was Sicilian, and he killed
Sicilian. Yeah.
He killed someone, putting him dans un drap.
In a cloak, in a
blanket.
In a
blanket,
sorry.
and the train passed over him in the
All right,
morning.
let me just read.
Whoa.
He wrapped him in a blanket, put him on the train tracks, and killed somebody that way. His
Why?
great-grandfather. Why?
And
Why?
Because there is a worker that worked with him, and they put him a lot of troubles, and they give him they put 2 scorpions in his bed, you know, for killing him.
Wait. First they tried to kill him with 2 scorpions,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it didn't work.
No, it didn't work.
This is the Sicilian way.
After this, he put les pieds de son lit.
The bed is
Sorry.
He put what?
He put water, you know, little basin of water. Like this,
In
the
the
scorpion
bed?
can go more in
so
the
the
bed.
scorpion could climb on the bed.
the scorpion rope of
And
water.
one of the workers say, you will be dead tomorrow. And he was dead. You know? And
Okay.
in the other part, my grandfather was a big Republican in front of Franco, you know. He was
In Spain.
Yeah, in Spain. He was the comment on dit, the chief of the syndicate of
The union.
Yeah, union. And they put him in jail, and after he had a death sentence, you know. And he made something.
You see when we were on tour, carry
Yeah.
on.
He put one night he go alone.
This is your grandfather,
Yeah,
now, not the great
grandfather, the Spanish
grandfather.
one. He put dynamite.
Dynamite,
And
Dynamite.
he put dynamite.
dynamite.
And he exploded a cross
A
across of
crucifix-
the Christ
across
of 20 meters, the most big of Murcia of the Spain, you know.
The biggest of
Yeah,
Spain,
yeah.
20 meters high.
Like-
Dynamite in
He
it.
blew it up.
He blew it up in the night, you know, and they catch him 2 days or 3 days after, and they put him in the boat, waiting for dying, just in front of Argelia, because Algeria
Right.
was, you know, with
France and everything, yeah.
everything. So he escaped from this, and he go walking, you know. First they put him in kind of jail, incredible jail, all in metal of 1 meter.
Like a dog cage for a
A
human being.
dog cage in the desert. You can imagine. Huh? And one day he escaped from this and walking across Algeria, Morocco. And it's for this that I am born in Morocco, because he go in the French part of Morocco that he can't live there. And so you can understand from where I came, you know. It's
Yeah, well, we're trying to. But what about the grandfather or the uncle who went to America for many years?
Oh, yeah.
Came back and said he couldn't
yeah.
talk. Okay.
it's super-
No, I think
Yeah.
Hurtado's family story tops all that I've heard. So go ahead, tell us
Yeah.
about the one who claimed to be mute.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
This one is funny because it's a Sicilian man.
again,
So there was the war in, you know, in Italy. So he was really in embarrassment, because he normally have to make the war. And one day he was in the camp of the military camp, you know.
Mhm.
And one day there is a fire in this camp. So he has the idea in 10 seconds to don't escape, stay with the fire. And he waits that someone come to him and say, hey, oh, there is a fire. I don't know. Because with the explosion, there was an explosion before the fire. He make like he was deaf, but he makes this until the end of the war. It means 4 years. And he didn't say that to his wife. And all for eating, everything, he only make expression with hands.
hand signs.
And when the war finished, from one day to the other, the wife was saying with the gestural, did you want a tea, blah, blah, blah. And he said, what are you speaking with gestural? I hear you. What? Yeah. No, but I can say it, because if someone know it, I go in jail, you know? And this guy say one day, I go to work in San Francisco. Maybe I can find something in San Francisco.
This was where were they living before though?
Yeah,
They're living,
He lived from Sicily, I go in Tunisia.
okay,
And Tunisia, I go in
San
San Francisco.
Okay, so he goes to San Francisco. I'm going to look for a job. I'll be back.
Normally for 6 months or you know, he returned 25 years later.
He went to look for a job. 25 years later, he comes back. No,
With
work,
no £1 in the pocket,
No
nothing, no money, nothing. And so nobody, because he was like a mafiosi, the people were afraid of him, you know. So his wife said, so what did you make? Well, I fishing, some fishing, yeah, but nothing, no, only fishing, nothing. We never know what he made 25 years. Maybe he had a wife, something. No.
But what about, didn't he then tell, go get a cup of coffee for me and then?
Yeah. Oh, this one,
Oh,
yeah.
hang on.
Yeah,
That-
this one is
Oh,
terrible.
is it the same one?
No, it's a Spanish
All
one.
right, now
Because my
moving on to the Spanish
yeah.
side of the family.
My grandfather had a father, and from one day to the other, he came in the house. He know how to play many music, you know, many instruments. But the sons don't play music. He said, you go to play bass,
Right.
contrabass, you go to play, I don't know, piano, blah.
Whatever.
So he learns them music.
He taught
and they make music for many years.
whole family.
My grandfather make music all over the world, and many tracks are always played. But this guy have kind of depression, you know, and he had always a hat in his
A hat?
head, And sometimes when he put his hat like
Sideways,
this,
yeah.
it means that he don't want that someone talk
Talks
to
to
me
him,
and
yeah.
talk to people. He silence, no
So
more.
he had a hat signal.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
my hat's turned this way, don't talk, I'm not talking. Tim, you should try that with your hat, but that would never work. You always like, this is the least you've ever talked. This story gets better.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
But one day everything was good, no problem in the house, nothing. And he put the hat like this, and his wife was very surprised because he speak to the wife and say, "Please, can you go to search me a coffee in the kitchen?" So the wife go, and she hear bah in the
Other room, the
in
living
the other
room.
room, and when she come back, he explode his
He
head
shot
with
himself in the
shotgun.
head.
Finished.
All right, so you understand why the name Hertado and maybe why he was attracted both with the Sicilian side, the depression, the mania, the murder, to then make right now, I think we're making some of the most murderous music ever with this tribute
yeah,
to Alan
sure.
Vega and suicide. And it's interesting, I told you this, Tim. A promoter that we've worked with in New York asked me if I would do this with Martin Rev, and I had to, like, one of my earliest, first friends in New York, and I had to say no because the way that Mark and I are doing it now, it's like I have two Ellen Vegas behind me. We have the art of Ellen Vega behind me, and it's absolutely freaking murderous. Jesus,
Well,
sorry.
yeah.
Every
I
day-
mean, I've yet to see it still because I'm just never there when you guys are doing it. I'd love to.
Well, there's, I suggest the first time we played, there's a really good version of Harlem online from the very first time when Ellen Vega was still alive but sick. And Mark invited me to do it. And so if you want to look up Harlem, where was that? Where was that?
It was in Bourgogne-Jallieu.
Yeah,
It was a festival
In
where-
Lyon, yeah,
where
in Lyon.
Alan should have played, and
And that's when it all started. And then, of course, we got the blessings from Liz, the widow. But
And I remember you guys sent me on stage to announce that to
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
entire audience that
Oh.
Alan Vega couldn't show up and that he was going to be replaced by Lydia Lunch. And I was thinking they're going to start throwing things at me. And
the only thing that was thrown is there was a freak in the very front of the stage
yep.
smashing garlic as if he was trying to keep the vampires away.
Oh, I
Who
know.
then gave me this Venetian mask, which I tried to fob off on Big Sexy Noise, but nobody wanted it. So Sebastian carted it around for a couple of days until,
I left
don't-
it in the car rental trunk. I just couldn't do anything with it. Nobody wanted it.
like the rabbit that Kevin Shea and I
Remember
stole.
this guy after the show, he was
chasing us.
chasing us in the road, and he was like this.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the-
the guy who was smashing the garlic with the Venetian mask. He ran after us to give it to us when we didn't want it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of fun we're having around here.
Kind of psychos we
Yeah.
encounter.
Well, and just to talk about Sébastien Greppo for a minute, who runs my Facebook, runs me all over the world, has toured with Big Sexy Noise and Retrovirus and myself and Ian White and Hertado. I mean, without his management skills. And by the way, we're in a 3-story, gorgeous new Airbnb, 2 blocks from the sea in Brighton, because that's how crafty he is. And when I
Yesterday,
first
we were in
met-
a nice hotel
we
yesterday.
were in a hotel in a building that was first established in 1285 and then built up in 1776. And I was in the Duke of Wellington's room, but Sebastian, who works at the University of Chicago, Paris, doing administration, administers a lot for all of us here. And it was when I first met him that I instigated these performance events that happen at the University of Chicago, Paris, where I'm still waiting to get my fellowship, Sebastian. I told him he could just copy my one from Tennessee and make another one.
Yeah, well, we met the first time, I think it was on I'll remember because it was March 8th, because it was the International Day of the Women. And
At a Big Sexy Noise
It
game.
was a Big Sexy Noise Day. You were supposed to do something with Virginie Despentes, who didn't show up at the last minute. And
I accosted you.
after 25 years of seeing you more or less everywhere and following you around, I finally came to say to try to have a conversation, because I think I had arrived. I had said hello a few years before at the Empty Bottle in Chicago, and I had said hello, Lydia, because someone threatened me to
Out you if you didn't.
if I didn't, then I ran away in the other direction, and it was probably the quickest fan interaction you ever had. And then 3 or 4 years later, I'm there to see the first Big Sexy Noise show or some tour, and I arrived way too early, and I pushed the door to the venue like, and then I thought that maybe there's a bar or something, and I see the three big sexy noise boys on the right and you on the left. You look at me, I look at you,
And I'm like, who are
and
you?
and I say, if I don't get into more detail now, this is never gonna ever happen.
And
So
I'm
we
like, who
we had
are
a
you? And what do you,
conversation,
who are
yeah.
you and what do you do? Which is my usual first question.
So I say, well, I'm some idiot that follows you around. And I said,
Secretly.
and after a while, you said you're not gonna, I'll try to put you on the guest list. You're not gonna pay 10 times, and then after a while, Lydia said, well, are you actually following us like in your car? And why don't you just go in the van with us? You can pay for the half of the gas or something.
No, I don't even remember.
And then a year later, you say, well, you actually drive. Why don't you just drive the van? And then the third time she said, because I said, Lydia, why are promoters putting you in all these shitholes sometimes?
Exactly.
If they did any more effort, like for 10 euros more. So of course, Lydia being the usual Lydia, she will, SG, if you think you can do better, you take care of it.
And he could, and he still is, and there we go. But I do believe at our first meeting, I did accost you into like, well, when's my show?
Yes.
Which is what I say to anybody who's got any affiliation with any venues or universities. And from that, how many events have been staged at the University of Chicago, Paris?
Well, for the sort of things that we all like,
Right.
we both like, I would say a good 10, I would say.
Well,
10,
at least
12.
we had, so I've been there.
Well,
numerous
I mean,
times.
from with other people, if we include you, we're at probably 18 or 20.
And
You've
it's
been there
not-
6 or 7
And
times.
it ain't gonna stop.
Oh,
And I
oh.
remember one of the first times I was there, and I call him Professor Cummings, but that's not his name. And I said to Sebastian, it was the first time I was there, and I was gonna read from Paradoxy, and I said, Sebastian, you might lose your job, and but I'll take it over. And Professor Cummings said, what position would you like? And I said, on top. And he goes,
Roar.
and then he came with 3 blondes who were laughing hysterically during my reading of Paradoxy. The students were horrified. And one of them was, I lived right across the street from you on Warren Street when there was nobody down there. So success as usual. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Well, we had.
So you and Mark live in France, and how's the food treating you in England? Are you guys turning your noses up, or are you guys eating well there?
Well, to not go into too much detail, Mark is difficult to feed because he
No,
has-
let me explain this.
Oh, yes.
Like many people that have suffered early childhood trauma.
Oh, yes, sure.
And I mean, when I was between 6 and 12, I'd have to go to the emergency room all the time with stomach aches. He had such trauma that his stomach actually, part of it has holes in it.
Yeah.
So now, all these years later, still as the body bears the burden, he has a lot of food allergies. And, I mean, to a lot of things. So we have to be very careful with what he eats. But no, well, of course, we eat well on tour because you have to. We're not in America after all.
Yeah, we've had. What was that place? The beef and the what?
No, the crab and the cow. I
Oh, the
mean,
crab and the
how
cow.
Sebastian will pull out, a Michelin star restaurant in the middle of nowhere in Italy. So I don't know, the crab and the cow. We went,
Yeah, in the middle of some village.
but actually we
Off
found
the-
an amazing one called the Lupo Lounge.
Oh, that
Where
was
was
you.
that?
That was
Where
you.
was that?
That was you. That was in
Wolverhampton.
Wolverhampton.
Where Marin Handcunt teaches. She's at the London show. And we found the most beautiful, I think, lounge bar restaurant I've ever seen with such incredible decorations. We will be back. So yeah, everything's going really well for us here.
Yeah.
Our Miami show, the venue was in North Miami in a pretty rough neighborhood, and we needed to eat. And so 10-minute walk, there was a Jamaican jerk chicken truck, delicious, but there was a guy hanging out, kind of dreadlock, I think he was Jamaican, I don't know, cracked out of his fucking mind, harassing all the customers. This is at night, it's pretty seedy. According to Eric, he had a gun on him too. And he was like, stand back. So that was a pretty dynamic dinner, but the chicken was delicious. So, it was really good.
Well, I'm quite excited because, if you're at a nice Airbnb, which we are, and here we are Brighton on the Sea. Tomorrow I plan on inviting Chris Bond, Bibikoff, the head who came to our London show of The Wire, who has helped me for many, many years before he became such an established, a music authoritarian. And also Jack Sargent, who's in Brighton. So, and Billy Chainsaw, who's in Brighton. So we're having a good time right here. And I plan on actually cooking something because, well, like Tim is a very good cook. Sebastian has his specialties. Sometimes you just got to eat home cooked meals. When do you get back, Tim?
I'm driving back as we speak. We're on the 80. We just crossed into Pennsylvania. We played last night because we had to do a switching of venues thing in Youngstown at this place called, I'll give a little shout out, this place called West Side Bowl. And they bought this old kind of Union Mafia bowling alley that was a big violent drug, whatever. It was a disaster. They bought it, turned it into a venue, 2 stages. You could sleep there. There's a shower. There's everything.
Wow, I'm gonna hit it.
They feed you. Oh, I'm gonna tell you all about it. In fact, I was talking you up to the place, and they get everyone. And they have one stage that you can get 1,000 people. And you got one that has 200 capacity.
I'll go for the condos.
Well, yeah, the bowling. Oh yeah, during our show, people are bowling. It was insane.
Nice. Oh, well, okay. I'm not going to top that, but I'm going to say during my show in Bologna with Ian White, it was a boxing ring behind us. And so I got to throw a few punches at the heavyweight bag before the show just to warm up. Oh, I was in heaven. Yeah. We're doing good.
Yes. So, I'm driving back. I'm going to write some music with the guys for a couple of days. And then I'm playing St. Vitus with child abuse. And then I'm doing Matt Nelson in our house, Marcella and I with Richard Edson, the actor.
When's that?
And, Wednesday, Mama Tried.
What day?
Wednesday, it's 15th.
Oh, I'm back to 14th. Good. It's right up the street from me.
Well, there's that. We're doing the 15th. We got the 17th with us up in
Retrovirus, last 2 shows in Catskill. Thank you, Tommy Brennan, for that one.
18th at night, I'm going to do that group with Richard Edson again and Matt's Wine Store. He has a whole performance in the basement. He's got a whole Fender Rhodes.
Oh, he set it up now. He stepped out the flood.
And then we're going to do our final show at TVI.
Sounds like a good time. Well, with that, I think I'm going to close this out because we got to eat. You got to drive.
Well, I will definitely be at that show.
Sebastian's coming for the final Retrovirus show.
I mean,
you are. Oh,
he's going to stay in my house.
I saw the second one in Toronto. The second Retrovirus show in Toronto. And
you're with us in that the second one ever, you're saying. Okay,
the second one ever, yeah, sorry. And I was really counting on seeing also the last one, obviously.
So anyway, shout out to Marin Hancock and Kant, Betty Ford, who we were with in London the other night, who's teaching in Birmingham, Wolverhampton, who also put on some Retrovirus shows, but she sends her regards, and I'm sending regards out to her. We had Peaches at our show in Berlin, which was interesting. Cool. She'll be on the podcast soon enough.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. Also, let's see. Mike Hoffman's going to be coming to the shows too, so it's going to be a gathering of the minds. Let's put it that way.
James Faherty might come. Shady Ray might come. You never know who's going to come. It should be a family affair. I was thinking of the last time George Scott played with John Cale, but I'll go into that privately with you later. So anyway, this is, and it will be forever until we can't stand ourselves anymore, the Lydian Spin, episode number 226 with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, Marc Hurtado, and Sébastien the Grappler Greppo.